folks, I'm Vasel here, and welcome to the Best of Publishers. Today we're going to be taking a look at indie boards and cards, which I often erroneously say as indie cards and boards, but it's indie boards and cards. Now I'm going to be including Action Phase in this list, and the reason for that's pretty simple. Indie Boards and Cards has acquired Action Phase Games. Action Phase is now basically a development studio underneath Indie Boards and Cards. Now, Indie Boards and Cards is known for a few games, which I'll get to because they're on my list. But their games are often smaller games. They've recently made one larger game, but for the most part, they've made small games that are extremely popular. So, and again, I would talk about this, but they're pretty much all on my list. So let's get started with my 10 favorite games from this company. Number 10 is Roarosaurus. Now, Roarosaurus is a dice rolling kids game essentially that really hasn't got a lot of love, and I really think it should because it's a really fantastic game. As you build these dinosaurs, or these monsters, I guess they like Godzilla type monsters, you're rolling dice and you're using these dice to attack other players, but you're also upgrading your monster, maybe to defend yourself against other people or to hurt them more when you hit them. And so it's kind of like a simultaneously rolling dice King of Tokyo style game. It's probably too frenetic for adults, but I really enjoy it with kids. So that is Roarosaurus. Number 9 is Heroes Wanted. This was the debut game of Action Phase Games. Heroes Wanted is a superhero game, and it's a little more mild than many, and it has a little bit of that enforced silliness, like I must announce everything with my hand raised like this, a bit in there. But really it's about accomplishing missions, accomplishing goals, and using heroes that you have built. You're building the heroes, the torsos, the heads and the feet, and you make your own hero, and that's kind of fun, right? To build your own hero. And so, I don't know. It's an intriguing game. It feels different than many of the superhero games out there. Heroes Wanted. Number 8 is Scoundrel Society. This is another one from Action Phase Games in which you are basically a bunch of people being the best scoundrel that you can, trying to rob and get, you're all in these buildings robbing as much as you can quickly. So you're playing cards. Each person has special abilities. It's a little asymmetric, but essentially it's a simultaneously card selection game. Really like this one, folks. I was really surprised, again, that this one doesn't seem to be getting much buzz. But as you're just trying to outguess everyone else at the table and go to and steal the best things each time, different loot's going to be there, and you're going to try to, figure out the right card to play to get your loot until you get your cards back in your hand. Number 7, another Action Phase game. They make good games. Ninja Camp. Ninja Camp is a game in which you have all the cards laid out on the table, and you are going to be slowly gathering these ninjas, and each ninja has special abilities and different numbers as you move them around. And as time goes by, the grid is going to have cards disappearing from it, so it gets harder and harder to make moves. Very similar to games like Hey, That's My Fish and things like that. This is probably the best of the lot. Also, it's very small, easy, and portable to carry around. Ninja Camp. Number 6 is Haggis. Now, you may not have heard of Haggis. I'm not talking about the food, but the card game. It's a wonderful little designed card game. And in this card game, it's a ladder climbing game, trying to get rid of cards from your hand. In fact, it's very similar to a game a lot of people enjoy called Teach You. But what makes Haggis interesting is you can play it with 2 players. I guess you could play Teach You with 2 players, but it wouldn't be very good. Haggis is good, and I like it. I like the design. There's not really a theme to it, but I like the flavor that's included with the game. And it's kind of how many cards do I get out of my hand? Am I going to try to get rid of all of them? Some good decisions in the game. Haggis. Number 5 is Coup. Have you heard of Coup? Because many, many people have. Coup is the simple game of bluffing or lying. Or maybe telling the truth, but probably lying. As you say, I'm going to do this. And why am I doing that? Because I have this card in my hand. But you very well not have that card in your hand. And then other people have to decide whether they're going to call you out on whether that card's in your hand. And the thing about Coup is, it's a really short game. It's short, fun. This one is just one of those games that's so successful for both the company, but whenever I teach games, if I bring out Coup, I know it's going to go over well. Number 4 is Aeon's End. This is the first big box game, well, probably the second. I'll mention the other one in a second. But this one is a big game, Aeon's End, in which you, together with some other heroes, are trying to stop some big bad evil thing that's coming to destroy the village. It's kind of a fantasy game And so you're all sitting there doing actions in your turn. It's a co-op game. Then the bad guy does actions, and there's multiple bad guys. So you pick the bad guy, and they're going to be different. There's multiple heroes. Each hero has a really awesome special ability that they gotta kind of charge up to use, and you have to really, really work together as a team. It has a great tutorial in this game, but there's a lot of variety, and they keep making expansions. I think they're even kickstarting another version of this online. I thought it was like a fantasy version of Sentinels in a Multiverse to some degree, but it has its own feel to it, and it's a lot of fun. That's Aeon's End. Number 3 is the other bigger box game, although the box is the same size as Pandemic, and that's Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Now, I love Flashpoint Fire Rescue for several reasons. One, you're putting out fires. I think that's a great theme to the game. I'm really surprised that there's not more. There's more coming, but I mean, this is, hey, you're working together as firemen to put out fires. Secondly, I like cooperative games, and this one does really well. It has a nice family, easy version to get into, and then you can play a more advanced version where each fireman has a special ability. And 3, it's just so entertaining. It's so much fun to go in there and try and, pull the people out before the house burns down. Just a great game. Number 2 for me is One Night Revolution. Now, this is kind of a combination of the theme from Resistance with Ted Osbach's One Night Ultimate Werewolf. So this came out from Indie Boards and Cards, and I really enjoy it. I like One Night Ultimate Werewolf. In that game, you're playing the game of werewolf or mafia, and one person, everyone puts their heads down, and at different times you'll pull your heads up and maybe do an action or maybe not. In One Night Ultimate Revolution, you basically will lift your head at night, you will do something, and many people will know what you do, but they don't necessarily know what team you're on. So I think it has more information than One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and it just works really well. It's entertaining, and it's also fast, so you play, you're like, oh, let's try it again. Ooh, let's try it again. And there's different roles and different things. Number 1 is the game I just mentioned, the theming of the last one, and that is The Resistance. Now, there's 2 versions of The Resistance. There's The Resistance, and then there's a version which is in the future, you're fighting against a corporation. And then there's one set in the past, in King Arthur Court's time, called The Resistance Avalon. In fact, that one has basically just been called Avalon. I bet many people are like, oh, I love Avalon. And I have to think, what? Oh, it's The Resistance Avalon. The games are essentially the same game. There's differences. In Avalon, there's a Merlin player. And in The Resistance, there's some technologies. They both work. I put them in the same box, and I play both. So I'm putting them together here as number 1, but this game's great. The Resistance is a social deduction game, and there's a lot of social deduction games out there right now. But what's great about The Resistance is that you don't necessarily, in Werewolf, know information. Sometimes you're just making gut feelings. In The Resistance, you can kind of puzzle it out. As you send people out missions, the mission fails or succeeds. You think about who you sent. You watch how everyone voted on that. You watch how who picked the people to go on the mission. It's great. Some of my favorite gaming experiences ever have been The Resistance. So those are my 10 favorite games from Indie Boards and Cards, subset action phase games. Really, I've talked to them a little bit, see some of the future. There's some of the games of theirs like Kodama and things I haven't played yet that I'm sure are also fantastic. I really look forward to seeing where they're going next. Tell me what your favorites are in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching The Dice Tower, and this is Best of Indie Boards and Cards.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.